Listen, learn, create your own destiny. Create the life you want. See the future, want the future, have it now. Welcome to the Manifest Change Podcast. And here's your host, Brooklyn Storme.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. So this is being recorded on the YouTube and podcast and live on Facebook. So thank you so much. Today's topic is all about fear. And if you're somebody who's experiencing fear at the moment, or perhaps you're a little bit nervous about planning your business for next year, or maybe you're a bit nervous about money or Christmas coming up or things like that, then this is absolutely the topic for you today. And I think that it's really important because fear doesn't often get spoken about when we're talking about law of attraction. So what I've done is I have pulled a card for us today. Let me have a look. The card is, I can create my world as I choose. And that's it there. It says, you are here to create the world around you that you choose, while you allow the world as others choose it to be to exist also. But while their choices in no way hinder yours, your attention to their choices does affect your vibration and therefore your point of attraction. So keep that in mind today while we talk about fear. So what is it? I guess from an LOA perspective, fear is really about energy. It's a vibrational pull. It's you being on a frequency of being very, very afraid of something, and this frequency is bringing you down. It's lowering your vibe, okay? In psychology, we might say that fear is associated with anxiety. In manifesting, we would talk more about perhaps like the ego or the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. So fear can be more around the ego's way of trying to keep us very safe, okay? Because our subconscious mind, as you know, is responsible for like 90% of our beliefs. And so when we're confronted with a new belief or a new situation or a new idea, what happens is our subconscious mind goes into defense mode. It says, look, this is foreign. We're not going to let it in. It's not happening, not on our watch. And, you know, it causes you to have all of these sorts of reactions inside you, like maybe your heart beats faster, or maybe you can't sleep so well at night because you're thinking about this fearful situation or this fearful event. It's a lot of anticipation, wondering around what's going to happen next, what's this fear going to involve. There's a situation that I can speak to as well. So it happened quite recently, but of course, in order for me to continue on my journey, I also have to invest in my personal growth and development. And yesterday I made a decision to take on a new coach, and it's very, very, very expensive. And I knew that I really wanted to do the training that this coach offers, and I knew that I wanted them to be a mentor. But at the same time, my ego kind of got in the way. My monkey mind got in the way and was saying, oh, I don't know, this is so expensive. Is it worth it? What's the return on investment? Are there any guarantees? Well, there's no guarantees. And stuff like that. So I found myself for the last couple of days while I was thinking about it, vacillating because of this fear that I had. And then it really took yesterday in the evening. I was just at home and I thought to myself, all right, let's just go right back to basics here and look at what's going on. And I was able to use the law of attraction processes to understand, first of all, that my fear was coming from my past, okay? I've invested in coaches before that were very expensive and got nothing. You know, it was very disappointing. And I felt, you know, well, all sorts of things as a result of that because they were so expensive. So there was that fear. There was the fear of, well, it's an ongoing financial commitment. I don't know where I'm going to be in 6 months or 12 months or 18 months, things like that. So I had all of these fears. And I got out my journal and I started writing through them. And it was through that process that I sort of answered my own questions, actually. And I realized that this is something that I need to do. It's something that my higher self would do without hesitation or without question. I absolutely believe in up-leveling my own mindset so that I can take my business further, so that I can take my coaching practice further and things like that. And when I accepted the fear, I was able to work through a whole lot of steps that I'm going to share with you now, because the reason that I'm being so open with you is because I want you to understand that I'm human too, and I go through these things too, even though it looks like on the outside that there's all these really big things happening in my world and that I'm successful. Of course, I also experience fears in business and in life. And so I just wanted to help you by maybe sharing my story. So one of the things that I had to recognize last night when I was journaling was that really fear is just something that I'm conjuring up in my mind, because this moment and this situation is neutral. Nothing bad has happened. Nothing good has happened either. It's just a situation that I'm faced with, this situation of investing in a coach. And so what I was able to realize was that I was imprinting fear from the past onto a situation that was neutral in the present. And when I did that, I had an aha moment. I had a light bulb moment, and I thought, okay, I've got to leave that past stuff over there and just accept this moment for what it is. And the reality is nothing bad has actually happened in this moment. So, all right, that's good. So that was the first thing that I realized when I was using my LOA processing. The second thing that I realised was that the fear I was experiencing yesterday when I paid the deposit was really around the fear was there to keep me safe. Because I've had negative experiences with money in the past, as you know, it's taken me a long time to adjust my money mindset. And so when I was able to understand that the fear is there to keep me safe, that made me see fear differently. And instead of being afraid of it, instead of feeling like it's the Grim Reaper coming to get me, what I was able to do was welcome it with open arms, because now I could see it as like a security guard. The fear is there looking after me, making sure that I'm going to be okay. And so by changing my mindset around fear in that way, it also took away a lot of the pressure that I was feeling. Something else that I learned was, I already knew this, but it wasn't in my mind at the time. But the way that our central nervous system works, we've got two processes. Well, this is what we talk about when we're studying energetic medicine. And one of those processes we hear about in psychology a lot, which is fight or flight, and I've spoken with you about that before. But the other one that perhaps you don't know so well is also rest and digest. And so it was really helpful for me yesterday to think about those two processes and try and figure out where I'd been sitting, and I'd absolutely been sitting in fight or flight. So that awareness then opened up opportunities for me to create space for myself to spend time looking at that other side of resting and digesting. So I was able to do that last night as well, and that helped so much. It really did. But that's something we can talk about in another podcast if you like. Just let me know. The other thing that I did was I asked myself, what am I really afraid of? And I just journaled out everything that I was really afraid of. And do you know what? These fears were just ridiculous, really. I mean, in my mind, they felt so real and I was so powerful. But when I actually started writing down paper, I looked at that and I thought to myself, are you joking? Like, I felt like I was punking myself. This was ridiculous. And straight away, I saw that the power just went out of them when I put them down on paper. So that helped a lot too. The other thing that really works for me, unless you weren't aware of this already, I've got a very active imagination. And I realised that I've been imagining, like, worst case scenario. What if this doesn't work out? What if I just blow, tens of thousands of dollars? I said to my mum, I'm thinking of investing this much in a coach, and, she slammed on the brakes in the car and she nearly had a heart attack. She said to me, that's almost a deposit for a house. I said, yeah, I know. But I think then what happened was I started to imagine, what if this doesn't work out? What if this goes wrong? What if? And it was the imagining that was causing me the issue, because if I could create that outcome instead, that's different. That puts me in a position of power. Rather than imagining the worst, I can create the best. What if this does work out? What would this mean for the Law of Attraction Institute if this works out? What would this mean for my Business Breakthrough Tribe if this works out? What would this mean for my Manifest Change group if this works out? What's it going to mean for people who subscribe to my podcast or buy my books? What's it going to mean for all of them? Is this going to mean I can help more people, that I can impact more lives, that I can be more effective on more different levels for people, So when I started to think about what I wanted to create, then that took away the feeling of fear and the power of fear as well. Okay, and then number 6, this is my private, personal strategy. Not going to read about this anywhere. This is just something that I have started doing since I've been working through Law of Attraction. So my secret strategy now is that I really try and understand that fear is necessary on some level, because the universe needs to reorganize things, okay? So everything around me needs to get reorganized so that I can participate in this coaching with this person. And so that reorganization, of course, is going to mean a reorganization, number one, of my finances. It's going to mean a reorganization of the businesses that I'm already running, because I've got 2. It's going to mean, so that's macro level stuff, but it's also going to mean changes have to happen on a micro level as well. Like, I'm going to have to reschedule my diary for 2019, which means for the first part of the year, some people are going to need to be contacted and have appointments moved around, and that's going to be an inconvenience, but it's also going to set everything up for me to be more effective with them in the future. It's necessary to reorganize my diary so that I've got space to do everything. It's necessary to reorganize my time so that I can have the work-life balance that I want, because I want to update that. This year it was great. It was swings and roundabouts, but I want to get more consistency in work-life balance for next year. I've already booked holidays. There's Honolulu workshops and retreats coming up as well in February. So in order for me to move from where I am now with the Institute and with coaching and with supervising psychs and with having the Facebook group and having the podcast and doing all of that, I've got a choice. I can either choose to stay here where it's, safe, or I can choose to take that next step in my business. I want to grow my business. I want to advance my business. I want the business to develop. And so in order for me to get from point A to point B, change has to happen, and change is scary because I haven't done it before, like with this business. So my mind is like, well, this is very different. You've been a psychologist for nearly 20 years. This is different. We don't know what this looks like. This is scary. So understanding that I have to have that fear, that the fear is there to look after me. It's working for me. It's keeping me nice and alert, making sure I make the right decisions, making sure I listen to myself and I do things that are aligned with what I want, but also understanding that there's opportunity in the fear. The fear is just opportunity in disguise, really. It's just sort of the last stop before the opportunity happens. So it's like your last chance to back out, and I'm not backing out. I want this opportunity. I want to develop. I want to grow. What's the point of just staying where I am? There's no point in that. It doesn't align with my vision, which is to help as many people as I can. And, my goal for 2019 is to help 10,000 people. I think that's doable. I believe 100% that that's doable. Am I going to do that if I just maintain the status quo, doing what I'm doing now, where I'm safe and comfortable and happy? No, things need to change. And so in order for me to impact 10,000 people, I have to do things differently. I need to be on board with my beliefs. I need to have the right mindset. And, it's like 10% action, really. That's all it is. But investing in myself to take my business to that next level is going to be absolutely worth it, because this time next year, I'm going to be sitting in front of you saying, hey, look, we did it. We succeeded and we achieved. And I know that this is going to happen because if I look at my past, I know that I've succeeded and achieved in the past. So there's no reason why I wouldn't succeed and achieve again. It's just something different. It's just a different area. It's a different project. It's just something different, but it's doable. And so they're my tips on how I process fear. And there's 6 tips in total. Again, it's understanding that this moment or this situation is neutral. Are you just imprinting a past fear onto a present situation? If you are, let it go. The second one is acknowledge that the fear is there to keep you safe. Okay, it is not the Grim Reaper, it is your security guard. All right, listen to it, follow its directions, thank it and move forward. Number 3, understand that aside from fight and flight, we also have rest and digest. Look at where you're spending your energy at the moment, and if you need to put it somewhere else, do that. Number 4, ask yourself what you're afraid of. Don't be afraid to go there. Write it out on paper. You'll probably find, like me, it's not as bad as you thought. The other thing, instead of imagining what could happen, why don't you try and create an opportunity that you do want to happen? Create the outcome that you do want. Visualize, fantasize, imagine, tap into that feeling. My secret strategy, as you know, was to understand the opportunities and to understand that the universe needs to reorganize things in order for you to up-level, in order for you to bring about the things you want, whether it's writing a book, whether it's up-leveling your business, whether it's getting more team members, whether it's starting a business, whether it's, manifesting a holiday or a car or a house, or it doesn't matter. Okay? All right, enough. Now, the affirmation that we're going to finish with is, I release fear thankfully and with love. I know that I can reach for a thought that feels better because now I'm awake. I want to say thank you so much for joining me. If you're on YouTube and Facebook, please give me a thumbs up or let me know your thoughts about fear, and if any of this was helpful to you, please let me know, because I want to keep bringing you more things that are really valuable and useful. If you're in the car listening to the podcast, thank you so much. When you stop driving, it would be amazing if you could leave a review on iTunes. That would be awesome. Each time we get a review, it bumps the podcast up a little bit higher in the podcast, which means more people get to become aware of it, which will help me achieve my goal of helping 10,000 people next year. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Happy manifesting. Bye.
Thank you for listening. Take steps now to manifest the life you want by checking out the show notes. If you've loved this episode, leave a review on iTunes. Here's to manifesting change. Thank you for listening. Take steps now to manifest the life you want by checking out the show notes. If you've loved this episode, leave a review on iTunes. Here's to manifesting change.